Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Power Core Productions and Podcastings. We're back from our 2-week break, back from the hiatus, and we're ready to get back into the grind as we now enter into Anime x DC Comics Chapter 2, Journey into the Infinite Earths. And where better to start than with our first series that kicked off the anime DC comic universe, that being My Hero Academia, The Dark Knight Returns. What if Deku was Batman? Season 3. But Season 3 will not be any ordinary season, my friends, because Season 3, we journey into the Arkham City arc. Now, for those of you who don't know, my all-time favorite game is Batman Arkham City. I will say it is head and shoulders the best superhero game of all time. And personally, for everything that's come out since then, that opinion still has not changed one iota. So to be able to do my own adaptation of Batman Arkham City is something that I'm looking forward to very much. As for this story, the theme is going to be the longest night. For Izuku Midoriya, taking up the mantle of the Dark Knight himself, to be the Batman, it means to endure even under the most strenuous of circumstances. When your back is against the wall, surrounded by enemies on every side, what will you do? Will you stand or will you fall? Will you fight or surrender? And for Izuku, he finds himself in that very conundrum, stuck in a city filled with some of the greatest super criminals, both quirk and non-quirk users, to ever exist, facing off against a rogues gallery of both new and old foes. How will Izuku fare within the walls of Arkham City? We'll find out now as we get into today's video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Wake up, Mr. Midoriya. We have much to discuss. I feel I should thank you. Capturing a mere student of UA is far easier than catching the rather flamboyant Bruce Wayne. Or should I say, Batman. Shut Arkham City down. It's out of control. Shut it down. By the end of tonight, I will be a hero. Just like you. You don't know what you're doing. You're leading this city, this country into chaos. This place is more dangerous than Tartarus. Tartarus? No. I will create something far greater. Ever since the retirement of All Might, crime has begun to rise within our country. Many of whom hid in the shadows now find themselves more emboldened, all willing to take a chance on the big stage. Personally, I have always found quirks to be rather fascinating because of what they breed into this society. Those who believe themselves to be gods, to be elite, those who chase the ever-ending cycle of immortality. But my legacy, a tribute to the failures of both you and your predecessor, will live on for eternity. And if you try to stop me, I assure you everyone will know your secret. Dr. Hugo Strange, a scientist famed for studying the mind. Following the battle with the Shie Hassaikai, about 7 months had passed. Izuku, along with his hero studies, was taking up the mantle of the Dark Knight, the one known as the Batman. In doing so, it wasn't uncommon for Izuku to do work after hours, usually under the cover of night, patrolling through the city and looking for wherever evil lurked. However, little did Izuku know that while he was searching in the shadows, there were those that were watching him as well. There were a few choice encounters with men dressed in military-like garb, although to where they claimed their origins, no one knew. Izuku had managed to beat these guards from time to time, although every time they faced, it seemed like they were getting better and better at adapting to him, as if they were studying his every movement. It all came to a head little over a month ago, after his latest run-in. After defeating the would-be soldiers, the one that was left standing, Izuku interrogated, trying to get information as to who sent them. As he held him over a ledge, his fist gripped firmly around his throat. "Who sent you? Why have you been chasing me?" "I won't. Don't make me lose my grip. Strange. Dr. Hugo." "You knew we couldn't win. You knew we couldn't beat him." "In time we will. Now, tell me everything that happened." "He was waiting for us. We used every formation. All of the data from the first 3 trials. We couldn't stop him. He was like a one-man army. He knows your name." "Is that so, Commander? That is fine with me. For now, we will know each other quite well." All of it led to this moment. Izuku still remembered it fondly. He was in the class dorms of UA at Heights Alliance, along with his fellow classmates in Class 1A as well, when out of nowhere, soldiers came streaming into the dorms, their guns trained on everyone. Before anyone had a chance to react, Izuku, recognizing who they were and fearing for the worst, stood down as the soldiers grabbed him by both arms and butted him in the face with the barrel of their gun. Izuku now found himself awakening in the private facilities of Arkham City, now under the headship of Professor Hugo Strange. He sat alone in a barren cell, sitting in a rusted metal chair, his feet and his hands chained. A crimmed mirror in front of him with stains of blood and smears of other fluid, with an audio message being played. The doctor greeting the new inmate into his facility and giving the standard rules and protocol. Izuku would rock back and forth, eventually falling out of the chair. One of the guards that entered into the room attempted to strike him with his boot, although Izuku managed to grab it and jolt him to the ground, headbutting him and knocking him down long enough to grab one of his radio communicators, breaking it and taking out the microchip, tucking it into his hand before more guards streamed into the room. "That's enough, prisoner! On your feet, Midoriya!" Look what we got here. Fresh meat. Looks cute to me. "You're gonna be my bitch, kid!" "Midoriya, line A, now!" "You'll never take me alive. You'll never take me alive." Black Mask? Izuku thought. They even managed to capture him. "Prisoner, line A!" Izuku would slowly make his way to line A of the facility, moving through the guarded walls and fence. "Up front, Midoriya!" "Izuku Midoriya," one of the prisoners said with a smirk. "You're lucky you're not on my list." Bang! "Godspeed to you." As Izuku made his way to the front, one of the guards would punch him in the gut. Although Dr. Hugo Strange, who was still there, would tell the guard to take it easy. "No need for such violence. Mr. Midoriya will not be any trouble to us. Will you, Mr. Midoriya? The cuffs can stay on. We don't want to make things too easy for him now, do we?" And with that, the walled gate would shut behind them. It was Izuku along with two other prisoners, one of them an older man. Izuku recognized him. The journalist, Jack Ryder. "Mr. Ryder? What the? A kid knows about me in this day and age? Yes, it is I, the famed journalist, Jack Ryder. Don't know what the hell you did to end up here. What did you do? Rob a candy store?" "There's no time for jokes, sir. This is serious." "Yeah, I bet. First I was covering Dr. Hugo Strange's weird old press conference. Now here I am. Don't know what the hell you did to get in here. But we're all doomed. This facility, it's housing some of the most dangerous criminals of the modern era. And even from an era before so. Quirk users? This can't be good. You'd think so. But this big-ass fence that they have guarding off this part of the city, it's built especially with a quirk dampener. At the very least, if anyone tries to pass through the barrier, you're going to get riddled full of bullets immediately once you've been registered into the system. Quirks are powerful, but they can only do so much, give or take. Sir, when the door opens, stand behind me. All due respect, I'm not taking any advice from a kid that's never been in a fight before. You're on your own. As the doors would open, they now found themselves walking into the gates of Arkham City. Prisoners lined on every side, cut off only by a fenced-off gate wall, although some of the prisoners had managed to climb it, and they were starting their attack. Even while handcuffed, Izuku would manage to take a few of them down, picking up the older Jack Ryder onto his shoulders. Get up! On your feet, Ryder! Come on! As the next fence would open, a short, stubby man would be waiting for them. Ha! It looked like the good old doc's information was right. Out of nowhere, Izuku felt something hit him in the back of the head. As he collapsed to the ground with another hit, he looked up just in time to see the short, monocled man, the Penguin, standing over him, spitting out his cigar as he stomped his face in. Everything went black before he would awaken to find himself in some back alley being dragged by henchmen. "Wakey, wakey, kid. What's the matter? Need me to call your boss?" "Mr. Cobblepot. Ah, you know about me. I'm touched." "Word around the street is you're that new butler boy for Wayne. You know, his family ruined mine. And I believe in good old-fashioned revenge. Wayne's money isn't going to do you any good here, kid. By the time he finds you, he's going to be scraping pieces of you off the cement." Cobblepot put on a pair of brass knuckles, ready to mess Midoriya up bad. Though before he could even throw the first punch, Midoriya managed to catch his hand and break it. "Ah! He broke my bloody hand! Kill the son of a bitch!" Izuku found himself surrounded by 4 guards. Using his defensive fighting style, he would back away and fend them off one by one, eventually using one of their skulls to break out of his restraints, before quickly dismantling all of them, and knocking out Cobblepot for good measure. Izuku looked down to his wristwatch, which, while ordinary on appearance, was actually a communicator. He knew he'd have to get to higher ground, so he began jumping onto the building ledges, moving up through rusted ladders and garbage chutes, trying to get to higher ground to get better communication with his mentor. Mr. Wayne, can you hear me?" "I can. I have to say, sorry about it ahead of time. I didn't think that Professor Strange would go so far." "It's no big deal. No one else was hurt in the dorms, right?" "No. The guards only seemed to want you. No one fought or caused a commotion. Once you were extracted, they left immediately. Although safe to say, UA has been in a shitstorm ever since. I figured. Principal Nezu, Mr. Aizawa? They're right now trying to fight to get you released from custody, although it's a lot easier said than done. This isn't going to end well. You're not going to have much longer in there. If this has to go up to higher authority, pretty soon things will get jumbled up. What have you been able to figure out?" "Well, I was able to get some one-on-one time with Professor Strange. And it didn't go well. He knows that I'm Batman. And by proxy, he knows that you're Batman as well. He's also said that something called Protocol 10 will make him famous. I can't leave here until I figure out what it is. That would be the wisest course of action. But you won't have too long. Can I get a drop? On top of the Ace Chemicals building. Sending it in now." Izuku would continue to make his way up to the roof of the Ace Chemicals building, its old facility, a place that held many memories for Bruce in particular. Did it arrive? Izuku watched as the Batwing flew overhead, with a large metal pod shooting down on top of the snow-covered roof. Right on time. Holding up his hand to the scanner, Izuku would watch as the metal container would open, revealing his batsuit. Once placing it on, he would make sure that all of his gadgets and communications would be set to go. Taking the encryption key that he had taken from the Tiger Guard, he placed it into the cryosyntheser, using it as a way to gain access to the radio frequencies and to any communication channels that was coming from the Tiger Guards to Professor Strange. Among them, he was hearing many other reports that were taking place, and there was one in particular not too far away. Prisoner 5261 is in the courthouse. I repeat, prisoner 5216 is in the courthouse. AKA Dent. He has a young hostage, codenamed Jinx. We believe he intends to kill her. How would you like us to proceed, sir? Stand down. Let Mr. Dent have his fun. Understood, sir. Jinx? What is she doing here? Who knows? Professor Strange has been rounding up many super criminals. Unfortunately, she still seems to be on that list. And she's in the clutches of Harvey Dent, who has a propensity for all things, well, binary. You'll need to get to her fast as you can, Midoriya. Understood. Izuku would glide from rooftop to rooftop, from the Ace Chemicals building all the way to the courthouse. There were a couple of inmates who were standing around outside. Some quirk users, some non-quirk users. The Arkham City facility was unlike anything that had ever been constructed, taking a chunk of what was a part of the Gotham Prefecture of Japan that was towards the seaboard. Using it and walling it off, the special facility was created to house many of the famed super criminals of Japan's society. Even more so, both quirk user and non-quirk user alike were all gathered together into one place. But they were allowed to use their quirks. It was just that the fenced-off areas around the prefecture city of Arkham, it was made specifically to target anyone who was registered into the system attempting to escape, with specially made pressurized metal bullets that were set to riddle you full of holes if you tried to escape. There had been a few attempts. They ended in failure. And not just with some weak quirk users either. There were some heavy hitters that got sent to the morgue as well. It was made very apparent that while free reign of your power was allowed in this city, escape was not. Izuku would glide to the upper area of the courthouse, sneaking inside without being seen. As he made his way through, he would get a closer look at one of Bruce's oldest foes, once friend and attorney, Harvey Dent, after a rather unfortunate incident in a courthouse, much like this one, that resulted in chemicals being splashed on half of his face. It caused him to fall into a state of dual-mindedness, a split personality, and thus the criminal Two-Face was born. Although, for many, they had thought that Dent had finally gotten the treatment that he needed. At least that's what many had hoped for. But after it was believed that he had escaped from his asylum a little over 4 months ago, Izuku had been especially trying to track him back down, although this was where he ended up. And to make matters worse, Jinx was being held upside down over a vat of acid and other chemicals that were more than likely going to burn her alive and melt her down to the bone. "Court is in session," Two-Face said. "Nice to see you again, boss. It's been too long." "You're right. They thought that they could cure me." "Cure me? I'm not the one that needs to be cured. I need to cure this city. There needs to be law. There needs to be order. Justice. And retribution. Let's start with this little one. Thought that she could steal from us. If it's all the same to you, I was just hired. It's nothing really. So, why don't you let me go, and we can put all of this behind us, huh? I mean, I don't want to get on your bad side or anything. Not that I can tell which is your bad side anyway, and I should just put a bullet in your head right now. No, that wouldn't be fair. No, we let the coin decide. No, screw the coin. I brand out my own deal of justice. It's not how we do things. We play it fair. We'll begin the session now. We've been thrown here into Arkham City, a new home for the super criminal and mentally insane, they say. But we'll show them. We're going to be the new power on the block. That amateur, all for one. All Might, even the famed Batman, they're all gone. All the old guard moved off of the chessboard to make room for the new. But what about that other Batman? He's still running around, isn't he? Oh, please. It's just some amateur. Someone playing dress up and pretend. I know the real Batman, and trust me, that ain't it. But if there's any bat-like vigilante that thinks that they're gonna make a difference around here, well, they can get got too. We're in a new day and age now, people. A day and age where it's about the conquerors and those that get conquered. We're gonna start with Arkham City. We're gonna take the territory one by one. The damned bird and the clowns, they're all gonna go. And once we've got full control over this city, we're gonna barrel through that damn wall. I don't care how many of us go down. 'Cause once we're on the outside, ain't nobody gonna be able to stop us. Above the courtroom, there was a sniper, keeping track of everyone and making sure that there was no one lurking about. Izuku was able to use his detective mode to judge out those who had firearms and those that didn't. The non-firearm combatants would appear as blue, while firearm users would appear as orange. He made sure to take out the firearm user first. It would make clearing the room much more easier. Among the criminals were non-quirk users and some quirk users. Some that had what appeared to be a fire-like quirk. Maybe similar to that of Endeavor's, although not nearly as hot. There were those who had other quirks that were ins and outs as well. Izuku took time to analyze them and to study them, and to find the appropriate ways of taking them down. He would take out a couple of smoke grenades and throw them into the crowd of people, blinding them as he moved through with his detective vision, quickly and simultaneously taking out the horde of criminals one by one, with Dent shooting in the dark, trying to find the perpetrator. Speak of the devil! The fake bat himself has arrived. Well, don't just stand there, you bunch of idiots. Kill him! Izuku would quickly move through the prisoners, taking them down one by one. By the time the smoke had cleared, he had managed to defeat them all. However, a quick bullet to the chest stopped his momentum. It was Dent who was hiding behind the safe glassed walling. As he came out, flipping up his scratched coin, ready to make the decision himself. Heads or tails, kitty cat? Nothing wrong with a stay of execution, don't you think? Jinx would say. After the flip of the coin, judgment was served. You're dead, bitch. I don't think so. Jinx would use her powers and escape with ease, managing to kick Dent out of the way, knocking the gun out of his hand, and, using her own power, would blast off a piece of rubble from the ceiling, having it fall on him and trap him in place. What's the matter, Harv? Run out of luck? 2 guns, bitch! The second gun would be knocked out of his hand by Midoriya, who would quickly take him out with one strike to the head. He turned to Jinx. He hadn't seen her since the raid on the Shie Saikai. Been a while, Wonder Boy. What are you doing here, Jinx? I thought you gave up crime, and it's not about crime. I'm doing a job. A job? I was hired. Famed woman. She said she had some stuff in this area that she needed back. Would pay me well for it, and I couldn't turn down an opportunity, so who hired you? I can't just give out that type of information. I mean, client confidentiality, all that good stuff. But what about you? Why the hell are you here? It's a long story. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Tell me, have you heard of anything called Protocol 10? Protocol 10? I have no clue. I mean, I've been a little busy. And well, what do you know, Jinx? I mean, enough with the games, Jinx. What do you know? All right. This place is holding a lot of dangerous people, Izuku. People that might even be above your pay grade. I'll handle it when the time comes. It's a lot harder than that. For one, word is that the joke. Izuku would quickly move Jinx out of the way as another bullet would come firing through the courthouse. It looked like it was fired by a sniper rifle. From somewhere far off in the distance, a cackled laugh echoed over a monitor. It looked like she was about to reveal some secrets rather soon. But come to me, little bat. You know you want to. This place is dangerous. I like it. No, you don't. Jinx, you need to get out of here. Seriously. I'll leave. Just as soon as I finish my job, okay? And take care of yourself, all right? Jinx would leave the courthouse, leaving Izuku there to trace where the bullet came from. After tracking down the trajectory, Izuku saw that it would come from the towered portion of the church building towards the center of the city. Izuku would quickly leave the courthouse and make his way over to the church. There were a couple of goons on the outside, but taking them down wasn't anything all too difficult. But once he made his way in, he would be given a rather unorthodox greeting. Two girls, dressed like clowns, would come cartwheeling straight towards him. They were looking to land simultaneous kicks to the left and right side of his head, although Izuku was able to throw them both off simultaneously. However, he would get his attention as there were 4 gunmen ready to fire. Don't make another move, Bat. Yeah, unless you want to get turned into Swiss cheese. I do what he says, Bat. Get a load of this, dealer. Yeah, it's just like he said. Someone trying to play pretend. You probably don't know us yet, but let us make our introductions. I'm Deela. I'm Deidre. We're the Quinn twins. So, anywho, we were just here to run some errands. Do a couple jobs, find a couple of doctors, and, well, heal me, Izuku would say. Pops wants to see ya. Says something about you not being like the old one or from the old days or whatever it is. Anywho, we gotta get back to work. We had to take one of our doctors to go see Pops. And sadly, they haven't been doing any well for us, and they've had to go, I mean, seriously, I've seen more brains from these bozos, Deidre would say. Although, Deela said with a smirk, judging from the outside, I think he looks pretty good, and you're not supposed to flirt with the enemy. I'm not. I'm just saying. I mean, if he's anything like the rumors say, you gonna take us for a ride, Bat Boy? Just kidding. Anyways, we gotta run. Yeah, we gotta get back to Pops' steel mill. If he tries anything funny, kill him! After the Quinn twins had left, Izuku would just be left with the 4 gunmen. Dropping a smoke grenade, he would quickly jump up to the gargoyles. He was able to see that there were a couple of guards and a couple of doctors in the room that had been taken hostage. After judging his vantage points and planning out his strategies, he moved to the northern side of the room, jumping down silently behind 2 of the guards that were standing side by side. With a double takedown, he was able to knock them both out before moving back up to plan his next attack. To the eastern side, there was a doctor being held hostage, but there was scaffolding above them. Izuku would glide to the scaffolding, moving down behind the gunman, and using a silent takedown, would dispatch of the gunman before he could harm the guard. The other one had hidden inside of the old cathedral. Izuku would move to the western side, moving to the hollowed wall behind him, and with a strike punch to the kidney, would incapacitate the gunman in a moment. The few guards that were here were those who were sent by the GCPD as a way of helping the medical staff. After all, Arkham did have to provide some form of care and treatment. Among them, an older man by the name of Aaron Cash. Aaron Cash would look on with a sigh and a look of disbelief. After all these years, you finally came back. Or should I say, he finally got a new kid on the block, huh? Sir? It's alright, kid. Your secret's safe with me. I know you're not the original Batman. I know him. Worked with him a little bit. Just can't believe that someone else would take up the shoes, you know? But still, thanks for the help. What was they doing here? The twins. They've been taking the doctors, the volunteers. We're guards supposed to look after them, but we got attacked. They took one of the docs recently. She's one of the good ones. If you can, please, I'll save her. No problem. Do you know anything else they did while they were here? Just some mess in the bell tower up above. You should best start there. Izuku would immediately move up to the bell tower, moving all the way to where the gun had been fired. Bruce looking through the monitor in Izuku's mask. He felt his heart sink into his stomach. Mannequins and silhouettes of an old foe, all sprung around with TVs mounted on the heads. Thankfully, the gun was there, but there was also something else. It was an audio recording, a familiar voice. Is this thing on, girls? I'm not familiar with this newfangled technology. Come in, Pops. We'll set it up for you. Here, Deela, you hold this. Yep, okay. Am I in focus? Am I good? You're good, Pops. All right. Now that I look at you, I don't see anything so special. I know that you're not my bat. Not my first bat. You never forget your first bat. But I'm pretty sure that old coot wherever he's strung up at nowadays. I know you can hear me. How's it been? You haven't seen me in a while. Didn't call back. Didn't write back. Didn't text back. We live in a modern era. You could have sent a hologram call or something. 15 years. Last time we saw each other, what was it? Oh, there was an island full of monsters and... Oh, that's right. You left me to die. And then you ran off, fighting other people behind my back. How could you? And then you just up and left. You left me, abandoned me. And then you let some trollop go around pretending to be you, to have what made us so special. And oh, Batman, how could you? Oh, you don't need to worry about all of that, kid. You just need to worry about the bombs. If you're anything like the old coot, you can make it out in 5, 4, 3, 2. Izuku glided out of the window of the clock tower of the church as it began to blow and be set afire from the bombs that were placed inside. Izuku had red files on him, someone believed to be long dead and buried. Sir, was that Izuku? I don't think you should. What? If this is a chance to find out what's going on with Protocol 10, then we have to. Izuku, no. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime, and I've made a lot of mistakes. I will not let you get involved with the likes of him. What are you scared for? You act like you haven't trained me well. I can handle this. Izuku, I'm warning you. You're not to engage with him. I won't. But what about the doctor? I have to find the doctor. Fine. You find the doctor, you bring her back safely, and we will move about accordingly. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Get to it. Izuku would set his sights on the next location in Arkham City. As he glided about, he made his way to the eastern part of the facility, the old Sionis steel mill. This concludes My Hero Academia: The Dark Knight Returns. What If Deku Was Batman? Season 3, Part 1 of the Arkham City arc. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is Power Core Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned tomorrow morning as we'll continue with My Hero Academia: The Dark Knight Returns, What If Deku Was Batman, Season 3, Part 2. And stay tuned this evening as we'll continue with our evening stories as we continue with What If Naruto Was in High School DxD, Season 4, the second part, the Lost Village arc. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time. Protocol 10 will commence in 10 hours.